Hello, good morning, any replayers. If you're a replayer, you can, of course, still participate. You can tap on the screen for hearts. You can share the broadcast with anybody that you think could use some of the information. You can also follow me on Twitter or Snapchat, especially if you have questions that pertain to your particular situation. Snapchat, actually, the best place to ask those. Hi, Kimmy. And we have... So find me on there. I'm happy to answer any questions, that you may have about your personal financial situation, about the topics that we have. So today, so if you're new to me, my name is joannazarach, and I talk about developing better financial habits, but also understanding money and understanding finance, and really all about breaking down some of the financial concepts that people find really, really hard to try to get people more invested in their money. So the topic of today is inspired by a blog from financialmentor.com. If you're looking for a really great resource, Todd Tressler has been blogging, and he's extremely knowledgeable, and he had a blog post yesterday that he talked about whole life insurance. And it was fascinating. It was very interesting. He did a very great job breaking it down. It's extremely technical, but it's also very revealing. So the topic for today is to really get everyone to understand what your investments are before you invest in them. Like, everyone needs to understand how money is made on the investment they're going to make. So before you hand money over to a mutual fund, to even a savings account, to life insurance, to any investment product whatsoever, it is so critical for you to understand how money gets made from that investment. And I'm here to try to help you do that. Hi, Stuart C. Bailey. So this is why, here's how you know that you understand it, that you can explain to someone else how money is made in the investment that you've created. Hi, Sevdada. If you cannot explain to someone how you make money, like, say, okay, let's say you have $5,000 and you're about to hand it over to an investment. If you can't tell me what is the expected rate of return, which means how much money you're going to make off of it in each year, and how much of that you're going to keep, and if you can't explain it, and if you can't do the math, then that's you're not ready for it, right? Really get to the point where you actually understand how that investment works. And his blog was around whole life insurance. And basically the bottom line, hi, how are you? That whole life insurance is one of the worst financial products that you can buy. And he goes through analysis on it, how much people default on payments, what it really means to have whole life insurance, how combining insurance product with an investment is really a mistake, and how everyone would be better off investing that money on their own versus getting kind of captive in that contract. So that's just one example. But I really want more people to understand how stocks work. Most people don't really know even how stocks work, right? This is why people hesitate to invest in mutual funds. And they don't really know the concept, hi, thank you for the hearts, between the, what is profit? You have to understand a little bit. If you're going to invest in stocks, you need to start understanding how business works, especially at the corporate level, right? And you can break it down into a fairly simple way. You're like, what does it mean to be a shareholder of a corporation? If you understand that concept, then you're ready to invest into stocks. And stocks are just, mutual funds are usually an aggregation of stocks. You need to know the difference between stocks and bonds, etc., etc. So, but my main point is, whenever someone comes to you with an investment opportunity, you cannot sign that check until you can explain that investment to someone else. So never invest in something under high pressure. Never, ever, if someone's pressuring you to invest, if it's like, this is a one-time opportunity, if you don't do it now, you'll miss out, and you don't have a chance to walk away, good morning, Cindy, you don't have a chance to walk away and think through of how that investment's going to make you money and really understand it, and they're not going to take the time to explain it to you, walk away. Walk away. Never sign over your money if you don't understand the investment thesis. So that's really, a lot of the financial industry is predicated on making things complex. All complexity means is less money for you and more money for whoever's selling it. Hello. So really understand that if the product is complex, and this is what he goes over with the whole life insurance blog, is that the more complex the product, right, the more little moving pieces it is, and the less someone explains to you how you're going to benefit and when you're going to break even and when you're going to make money, the more complex it is, the more features it has, the less money for you and the more money for that financial institution that's selling it. So that's why I talk about really sticking to the simplest, least expensive investment. And by least expensive means the least fees that you pay in order to participate in an investment. And so that's why it's really, really important. So anytime, hi, how are you? Anytime you have an opportunity or someone presents you with an opportunity that they say this is an investment product or this is how you're going to make money off of it, this is how it's good for you, really know your numbers. And you don't have to be a math whiz, right? That person should be able to explain it to you. And again, always take the time to take the numbers they present with you, take them with you, walk away. That's great. And walk away and do the math. Do the math yourself. And you may say, oh, I'm not so good at math, right? Like use a spreadsheet. I'm doing great, thank you. Use a spreadsheet, just use a calculator. And then again, find a resource. There's so many people, myself included, who are out there really working hard to make sure that more people understand how money works, both from the financial industry perspective, just the simple way of investing, how investments work, what is the value of money, both in terms of, what income you're generating, assets and all that. So always do that. And so that's really the message for today, is that I want you guys to examine the underlying thesis of the investment before you write a check. And you need to be able to explain it to someone else. Because I have had many situations where someone's like, oh, this is going to throw off cash, or this is going to be a good cash flow, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, explain to me again how this money, like I'm stupid, and I'm not. But how this, let's say $100,000 investment, how it's going to be good for me, like when do I get the money back, what's the risk, like what's the incremental thing, like you have to really break it down to a very, very simple thing. If it's like, well, you get a leverage and blah, 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 people start using throwing big words around and it doesn't really sink in and you're like, how do I calculate it like on a piece of paper, and they're like, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that and you can do that. And you're like, yeah, but how much money am I really going to make? Like, when am I going to get to X? And, if I have $100,000 today, when will I get to, let's say, $110,000, which would be a 10% return? And that would be a lot in 1 year, right? And if you're not getting there for 5 years, that means that's not a good, that's not a good investment. And so that's start using simplicity and simple examples when you're trying to get someone else to explain the investment to you. So you say, okay, so say I, contribute $10,000, what's it worth? What happens when I stop contributing? What happens when I contribute over 10 years, that $10,000? So really understand that and understand the value of that investment. And again, a lot of people blindly trust someone else saying that it's good for them without actually questioning, like, what is the outcome? Like, what is the investment going to return? And when, right? And how big of a risk? Like, can you lose entire? And people are really risk averse, which means that people really are scared of losing the principal, right? And so, and some of the investments, like, you can lose the entire principal and there's no asset to back it. So you need to understand it, right? Like lending, for example, lending is like, if you don't have an asset to back it, that's 100% at risk, right? If that person defaults, that's why you want to diversify if you're doing lending across multiple entities. But shares of a company, if the company has assets, it'll have some value. But if a company is well established and it's like, and you understand how they're making profits and if they're paying dividends every year, right? These are the things the basics of investing that you really, really need to, you need to understand and embrace, right? Like, one of the things I'm trying to get people to do is embrace financial knowledge, right, is to not go, well, that's really complicated, and I just really wish someone else would make the decisions for me so I don't have to understand. It's really detrimental for you to not have some basic understanding of how that money gets made. And again, you don't have to administer it. Like if you're like, you know what, I don't really want to spend the time administering my investments. And then you may say, I don't really want to make the final decisions. I kind of want to give a general idea, and I want someone to do the detailed decision making. Again, there's fees for both of these things. But if you completely distance yourself from, I just have this money and I'm putting it over here and I'm letting someone else do things with it that you just don't know, then you're going to lose. And you're not going to lose all your money. Like they're not, they're going to hold on to your money, but they're going to take some of that return for themselves, right? That's how the financial industry works. So that's why. So get invested in understanding what the return is of any investment that you presented with. Make sure that person is willing to explain it to you with numbers and examples, without a lot of talk, like a lot of, here, let me not explain to you the return, let me explain to you the 10 features of this great investment product. So understand the return and then walk away and take all the information with you and then try and explain it to someone. If you're unable to explain your investment to someone else, that means you really don't understand it. That's it. That's the message for today. Again, if you're looking for a great resource for someone who's really knowledgeable in this field and has been doing the financial coaching and really has talked about the differences between like financial coach and financial advisor, I'm going to put this, it's financial.com, and this guy's name is Todd Tressler. And this is just like an amazing set of resources, and I highly recommend his stuff. What I call a level 5 financial coach. He works with people who have already accumulated a certain amount of wealth and they really want to step it up. But he has a lot of resources for just anyone. And he's just a really good guy. And I've only started in this field in putting out my own content on video in the last 6 months, and he's been at it for a few years. So he's a very well established. I don't need to reinvent the wheel, by the way, guys. I just want to find areas and people that I respect. When I read their stuff, I go, this person's on point. And he's one of the people that I find is really on point. And he's really wanting people to achieve financial freedom because he has done it for himself as well. And so I really enjoy his work. So thanks a lot for joining. And if you have any questions, again, if you have questions on this, I haven't seen Todd on Periscope. He's a blogger. I don't know if he has a podcast. I think he has a podcast. I think he does have a podcast. I haven't seen Todd on Periscope. It's interesting, like actually not a lot of personal finance bloggers are on Periscope. And the thing is because blogging is like a skill set that people have and they're comfortable with. And I can't blog. Like I find like writing and then doing all that too time consuming for my video. Like the interactive things is the way to go. So I haven't seen it. And even I think Farnoosh Torabi, who's like a well-known personal finance person, she's not I saw on Periscope yesterday, but people don't transition to different platforms. So I haven't seen it on Periscope. So just his website, he's got a podcast. He just redid his website, so it's a lot easier to navigate in terms of finding resources. But again, I highly recommend him because he's very knowledgeable and he has the goods. Anyway, if you have questions for me, you find me on Snapchat. That's my favorite communication tool at the moment, and on Twitter. Either one of those platforms, and shoot me a question. And by the way, I've covered a lot of topics. If there's a topic you really want to know about, you can go to my catch.me account, catch.me/joannazarach, same username everywhere, and you can actually browse and look at the topics that I've covered, because I've covered a lot. I probably have 100 hours of video, which at some point I'll have to compress and edit down. And someone asked me once again, do you have a website? I'm very good on live video. I decided to just put myself out there, and I'm going to build the other resources. But in the meantime, I'm happy to refer people to the resources that already exist, because I'm only one person, and one person can't save everybody. Or can't help everybody. So that's my message. But bottom line, understand your investments before you write the check. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Yeah, thank you for joining, and thank you for your support. I know, Cindy, you've been one of my regulars, and I really appreciate it. I always appreciate people who are here because I feel like I'm not just talking to myself. I'm talking to someone, and again, it's just trying to take a little bit of action every day, and then gain a little bit of knowledge every day, because it's a very, very big world of finance, and I feel like everyone that's on here is getting further ahead in their financial journey. So thank you for joining. I'll be here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, because I'm on thank you. I'm on every day. I'm just wrapping up. I'm on every day at 10 a.m. Central Time, and I will be here tomorrow. And then actually, after Friday, I'm going to be broadcasting from the road because it's spring break for my kids. So, but I will be here every day anyway. Because why? Because Periscope is 100% portable. All right. Thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.